It is now my pleasure to welcome Lori Kaiser, founder and CEO of Kaiser Consulting. Lori graduated in 1985 with an accountancy major. She also earned her Certified Public Accountant and Chartered Global Management Accountant certifications. She began her audit career with Big Four global professional services firm, KPMG. After 7 years, she left KPMG seeking a way to create the ideal work-life balance. She found that balance and great success as an independent consultant. She also discovered that other accounting professionals were facing the same struggle, and Kaiser Consulting became the ideal solution for many of them. The Columbus Chamber of Commerce honored Kaiser with its distinguished 2019 Small Business Leader Award. Kaiser Consulting has also been recognized as a progressive organization by Smart Business Magazine and named a Central Ohio Best Places to Work by Columbus Business First 3 times. Lori currently serves as a member of the Farmer School Center for Business Leadership Advisory Board and its Accountancy Advisory Group. She also serves as an independent trustee and audit committee chair for the Capital Series Trust and is on the board of directors of the Ohio Society of CPAs and the Women's Fund of Central Ohio. She's also a senior lecturer at the Fisher College of Business and MBA program at The Ohio State University. Please welcome Lori Kaiser.
Thank you, Dean Rubin, and thank you, Miranda. Love and honor is what keeps drawing me back to Miami. I'm happy to be here and share with you all the hard years' work that goes behind the diplomas that you're getting today. Whenever I come back to Miami, I dread the drive. But as I get closer and closer, I get excited about seeing the red brick buildings and feeling the energy on campus. But really in my head, what I'm planning is how many times can I have bagels and gyros and cheese fries and getting to go to my favorite establishments. When my husband sees the credit card bills after a trip to Oxford, he asks me if there's duplicate charges. And I have to admit to him that I went to the Bagel and Deli 3 times in 36 hours. I remember my Miami years so fondly because this is a very special place. It's the place I became an adult. It's the place I learned how to learn, and it's the place I made my lifelong friends. I feel like my life took shape under the watchful eye of Mother Miami. She gave me everything I need to have a successful and happy life. A concrete education, hands-on learning, and practice working in groups, and a network of friends and colleagues. But while I was in your seat 34 years ago today, I never would have imagined myself being up here. My path was filled with challenges and lots of difficult decisions, and yours will be too. But my path also included a leap of faith to become an entrepreneur. And I quit my dream job 7 years in without even having a plan. So what did that dream job look like? I was lucky enough to start my career at KPMG. And we all know what lucky means around here. I studied hard for a good GPA. I took on a lot of leadership roles, including being an RA and holding an office in student government and also in my sorority, the Alpha Phi's. And I crammed my schedule with anything and everything I could do to get more skills and to expand my network. I liked my career in the Big Four public accounting firm, and I thrived. I had interesting clients, and I worked with smart people. And the Big Four firm invested in my training and development. I really loved that I got to go to different clients and be exposed to a variety of industries and meet a whole new group of people every few months when I was on a new project. I'm a curious person, and auditing fit my personality because it gave me license to ask questions and figure things out. Overtime and travel were part of the job, but it really didn't bother me because my work was fun. I was very focused on my career and learning and growing. And I had my life all planned out. I was going to work a few years, meet that special person, work a few more years, get married, have a baby, get promoted to manager and partner, right? The grand plan. So there I was, cruising along in my life, and the steps were getting accomplished, one by one, in order and on time. And I was at the step of starting my family. I was home on maternity leave after the baby had come, of course planned carefully to arrive after the end of busy season. And I started to figure out that my plan might have to change a little bit. My husband and I both had jobs that involved significant travel. And we were struggling with how we were going to make sure that there was a parent at home for our daughter. Because it's not like you can board a baby like you can board a dog and take them to the kennel and pick them up on Friday. I had not anticipated the shift in priorities and the immense responsibility that was this thing called parenthood. So after I asked for my 3rd month off, and then my 4th, and then my 5th month of leave, I knew that I was going to have to change jobs. But I loved my job. It was part of my identity, and it was part of my plan. I framed the decision, though, that I wasn't quitting. I was leaving behind what no longer worked in my life. My life had shifted and expanded, and it was a new life, and I needed a new plan. Now, I know all of you guys listen to exactly what your parents tell you in your life, but I didn't. I did the thing my parents had told me never to do. I left my job without having the next job in hand. So I was home a few months, and I was figuring it out, and I realized that I missed work. I missed using my brain, I missed the teams that I was on, and around this time, a former client called me and asked me if I would come out and do a small project for them. I knew them, and they knew me, and so it was a perfect fit. So this one small project turned into many projects, and I liked the flexibility. I originally thought I would just do this project work for a couple of years, and then I would go back and get a real job. But I grew to love being an advisor to companies and jumping in on any problems that needed my help. I sometimes had more work than I could accomplish myself, so I started asking other professionals to help me when I was overloaded. I started asking them questions. Why are you not working? What kind of work arrangement are you seeking? And if you could design your ideal job, what would that look like? I used the answers to these questions to set about drafting a business plan where I would grow from one person to a larger firm. My plan was for a consulting firm where the professionals decided when and how much they worked. I was excited about my plans. We were going to be the Uber of accounting, showing up where and when we were needed. I was also going to be solving a problem because there were lots of highly qualified people sitting out of the workforce because they didn't like the available options. I wanted to create a new option. I was going to take all the great things that were part of consulting and combine those with flexible part-time schedules. I wasn't going to stop climbing the ladder. I was going to create a new ladder because there needed to be more options. When my business plan was complete, I was excited to share it. So I sent it to Mr. Crinkle. Now, that's not his real name. I gave him this nickname so he would remain anonymous. I chose this name because when Mr. Crinkle was unhappy or troubled, he got these wrinkly lines in his forehead. And let me give you a little bit of background on Mr. Crinkle. He was a partner at one of the big firms in Columbus. He was a well-respected leader in the business community who had always supported me. I liked him and I trusted his opinion. So shortly thereafter, I invited him to lunch to discuss my plan. And he showed up with a frown, and the crinkle was in full bloom. I can still clearly see his face. I knew it was not going to go well, and so I braced for his feedback. He sat down and he started to rip apart my business plan. His exact words were, "Big companies will not buy from you, and you will never have a firm over 10 people." Now, this man knew a lot, but he only saw the situation as it was, not how it could be. I had expected him to support me in my idea, but he didn't. He talked to me like my business could be a hobby, but not a real business. I decided in that moment that maybe he couldn't do it, but he did not know what I could do. I listened politely, and then I ignored his advice. I proceeded on the path to build Kaiser Consulting. I built a new way of working called optimum scheduling. Our team gets to tell us how much they want to work and even to take the summers off. It wasn't easy, and there were many years when my salary was a fraction of what it would have been if I had been an employee. Thank you to my husband, Dan, for believing in me and supporting me in those lean years. Sometimes I wanted to give up. and I'm sure you all know the feeling of doing something hard and wanting to throw in the towel and take an easier path. I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. I knew accounting, but I knew very little about marketing, human resources, IT, legal, and all the other areas that I needed to be an expert in. And there were highs and lows. I hired my first few employees with a small $17 want ad in the neighborhood newspaper. And some of those employees were a great fit and are still with us today, and others moved on. As the business grew, it was often a family affair, with my husband helping with back office billing and my children helping me set up computers, clean the office, and anything else I could bribe them into helping me with. At times, I had to borrow money on my home equity line to meet payroll because clients don't always pay on time. Along the way, I decided to get a graduate degree that would help me learn to grow and scale the business. My husband, Dan, stepped up again and supported me in this endeavor. We had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I commuted to Chicago and Barcelona, Spain, to finish an MBA at the University of Chicago. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about cash flow, and I lost a lot of sleep over the stress of sometimes having too many employees and not enough clients, and sometimes having too many clients and not enough employees. Maintaining the balance is still difficult today. I pulled all-nighters to meet client deadlines because we have a 100% client satisfaction guarantee. If clients aren't happy, they don't have to pay. And I learned my strengths, which is juggling lots of balls and mentoring my team. And I learned my weaknesses, which is anything IT related and delegating. And I learned that I needed to work on my business, not in my business, if I wanted it to grow, something that didn't come naturally at first. But every time I got a big client, I celebrated like Rocky Balboa on the top of the steps. The highs and lows of owning your own business are like a roller coaster, scary and exhilarating at the same time. So fast forward to 2019, over 20 years and thousands of client projects later, we are 80 team members strong, and I have 6 equity partners. A few of our most recognizable big clients are Honda, Cardinal Health, Nationwide Insurance, American Electric Power, Huntington Bank, Abercrombie & Fitch, and Express. We even have some fun clients like Jenny's Ice Cream, T-shirt company Homage, and we recently started our first cannabis client. We are also proud to serve Ohio's only billion-dollar unicorn startup. In 2019, Kaiser Consulting was named the #1 best place to work in Columbus. We've also won many awards for our innovative practices, including being recognized for Congress for workplace flexibility. People join Kaiser Consulting to have flexible schedules to accommodate the demands of children, caretaking of older parents, starting their own businesses or side gigs, or to be able to travel, or just work less. We even have one employee who uses his flexibility to train for Ironman competitions. Kaiser Consulting helps them achieve their version of success. Our team members can have great careers and great lives. When I see Mr. Crinkle around town, he boasts that he's always been my biggest supporter. He's rewriting history a little bit, or maybe he's right, because him telling me that my plan would not work only made me want to succeed more. So there's 3 highlights from this story that I'd like to talk about. The first is that plans are good. They keep us motivated and moving in the right direction. But your original plan is just the start, because none of us knows what the future holds. When I was at Miami, we had typewriters, not PCs, landlines, not cell phones, snail mail, not email. There was no Microsoft Excel. There was no internet. There was no coffee shops. There was no streaming. We had 3 TV stations. There was no Facebook, no Amazon, no Netflix, no Google. Those are just a few of the things that have changed since I was here. So we have no idea what artificial intelligence, process robotics, or the new technologies that haven't even been invented have in store for us. So your current plan is just your starter plan. It's your beginning. Second is that successful people need to be curious. Asking questions and figuring out what isn't working is a way that you can provide value to your employers, but also maybe identify an unfilled niche, and develop a product or service to build a business around. And third is that you need to persevere with passion. Even if no one believes in you, there will always be Mr. Crinkle types out there. You need to ignore them. Sometimes they just can't see what you can see, and no one knows what you can do except for you. My career was launched by the unexpected shift that my life took when I decided to take the leap of faith and become an entrepreneur. When I couldn't find the career I wanted that made sense for my life, I built it. Now it's great to be the leader, and sometimes the leader has to do things that no one else wants to do. But the flexibility and freedoms I have now that the business has grown and I have a great management team are incredible. I'm grateful to have the opportunities to continue learning and advocating for causes that are important to me and finding new adventures while still running the business. I teach in the MBA program at The Ohio State University. I'm active in the Women's Fund, which is focused on empowering women to reach their full potential and eliminating the wage gap, because women still only make 78 cents for every dollar a man makes. And I joined a corporate board. I got my pilot's license, and you might see me flying down here to Oxford to have another bagel. I learned to scuba dive, and I took a trip to Australia and New Zealand that included a bungee jump. And I mentor other business owners so they can make fewer mistakes than I made. My life did not follow College Lori's plans, and I'm glad, because if it had, I likely would have missed the path I was supposed to take. Today you leave Miami with a top-notch degree, an education that taught you how to think and adapt, and lifelong friends. Everything you need to be successful. So as you set out to create your future, remember to stay curious, remember to look for problems and their solutions, and to persistently pursue exactly what you want from this life. Your life will expand in proportion to the courage you have to go after that success. Love and honor always, and congratulations to the awesome farmer class of 2019.